Hello and welcome. Uh, I'm Plain Stranger, and it's the eighth episode of Show Up and Tell. And today I want to talk about how populists in modern Europe are using their constructed narratives to bend the laws and government policies in order to hurt human rights and mostly freedom of speech. Why I have chosen this topic today is mostly because of um, the news that came from Denmark on December the 8th. Danish Parliament, by the majority of votes, adopted a new law that criminalizes, I would quote, inappropriate treatment of writings with significant importance for a recognized religious community. End of quote. And that is a prime example of how populists construct the narrative that is comfortable, that is useful for them to bend the law. The whole situation started due to attention to Quran burnings in Denmark. That attention was mostly brought by Al Jazeera and other media that are sponsored by monarchies in rich Islamic countries, and through those media, the information, the hype about that act of burning was spread around the whole world, actually, and well, majority of the world, at least English-speaking world, and that caused some unrest among the Muslim population in Denmark and some other European countries, of course. Uh, uh, but again, that's the whole situation. That the populists take one fact. I mean, burning of Quran. It's a bad thing. It's offensive. It's just bad. Look at that. Look at my hand. Look at the fact I show you. Don't look behind my back. Don't look what 10 assistants, 10 my assistants do while I show you my hand. Look at my hand. All the attention to the hand. That's how politics is done in Europe mostly these days. With populists, no matter from right wing, left wing. I'll maybe do another video on why there is so little difference, in fact, between right-wing populists and left-wing populists in modern politics. The thing is, they leave the whole picture out of your attention span. I mean, yeah, in modern world, people are used to scrolling their feed on their phone. They rarely read beyond the headlines, and if they do, they prefer the information given to them in little chunks of 3-4 short sentences. People don't usually go and read the text of the law, and they don't really read the propositions for policies in Parliament. So what's bad about this law? For the starters, I'll read it again. The law that criminalizes, I quote, inappropriate treatment of writings with significant importance for a recognized religious community. And I'm no lawyer, but come on, there are tons of problems here right now from the beginning. There is statement about a recognized religious community, but in the law there is no list of those recognized religious communities. There is no mechanism, no protocol for a community to become recognized. I mean, will it count if tomorrow, for example, I register a new church with a couple of my acquaintances, and we, I don't know, will be offended on things like I don't know, people wearing hats at all. Would that be valuable under this law? Would that be not? I mean, is some pamphlet we print, will that pamphlet be recognized as writing with significant importance? And I mean, in Christianity there are lots of writings. I mean, there is Old Testament, there is New Testament, there are texts from Orthodox Eastern Church, there are texts for religious texts from Roman Catholic Church. There are teachings by Protestant preachers. There are groups like Mormons, which treat Book of Mormon pretty much above the Testament, and I mean, anyone could compose text, anyone could register a group. Will it be recognized? Who would decide on that? There is nothing about this in law. It's total legislative vacuum, I would say. Another thing, there is no precise description of what treatments are declared inappropriate, what are offensive treatments of those writings. I mean, yeah, everybody nowadays thinks about burnings. Okay, burnings bad. Okay, but I mean, there are tons of religious groups. Can they find another ways to be offended by the actions of other people? For example, will some groups of Muslims offended if people hold Quran in the left hand? If you know, it's considered in some Muslim states less clean, I would say, than your right hand, and there are lots of ethical I would say mumbo jumbo around that. Will they be offended if an atheist holds it? I mean, who knows? What's the inappropriate treatment? Will they be offended if I put it on the shelf between, I don't know, Eat, Love, Pray and some porn magazine? Who knows? There is no limitation of interpretations of that law, and that's the problem. And who is gonna decide on that? There is nothing about this in the law, and what does it produce? It produces additional power for law enforcement. Any prosecutor, any law officer can obtain power to decide what's here is desecrating some text or what's not. on his own accord and following his own, um, I don't know, current image of that. He may be affected by corruption. He may be affected by bad mood. I don't know. He may be affected by bias, and there is nothing you can do. And that is exactly the same situation that happened with offending religious feelings in Russia more than a decade ago now. If you know, there was a case of a Pussy Riot band that had a performance which costed them 2 years in prison. And that is exactly what new Danish law specifies, that victimless action of doing something with a book or a text you rightfully own now can cost a Danish citizen up to 2 years in prison. I mean, that's Russia level. Yeah, it's level of Russia 10 years ago, but still it's Putin's Russia level. Come on, Europe. That's yeah. Uh, the same law is proposed. As far as I know, it wasn't approved. It wasn't adopted yet, as of yet, as far as I know, in Sweden, where also there were burnings of Quran, and there is there are, I would say, some similarities to how laws changed in Sweden. Again, it resembles very much how Russia became more restrictive, more police bent state. First, there was actually no need to um, get there was no need to get approval from local government. Uh, if you wanted to make some public action, public manifestation, some performance, you just do what you do. And in the Russian constitution, uh, it's was written initially the same, that any number of people in any place, uh, while not bearing guns, can form groups, can protest, can manifest, can do anything they want in peaceful ways. Now in Sweden, you need to get approval, so there will be police, and police will monitor the situation around your manifestation, around your political act, or around your activist performance. Same thing was in Russia about I would say 18 years ago. It happened that people had to get notifications from the police, from local authorities, that they recognize this act as lawful, as peaceful, and so on. And of course, the more time progressed with Putin's regime, the more often people were getting refuses for such meetings. And nowadays, I'm not sure, there was also a proposal for uh, stating the number of participants for such actions. And if the actual number of such participants uh, is higher than it was planned, if it requires more police to keep things civil, that meeting, that public act would be stopped, or would be to be stopped. And again, that's exactly the same situation as it happened, as it worsened in Russia. That's the same exactly direction. Uh, at first, there was no need to count heads. I mean, in Moscow in 1990, 1991, there were huge, enormous meetings that nobody knows for sure, but at least counted hundreds of thousands people, maybe million. And this was not a problem for anybody. Well, except KGB, but who cares about them, right? And again, as the Putin took power, I would say, I think things got worse, and uh, the first cases were actually quite anecdotal. Like, for example, some local division of a liberal party would get approval for a meeting at the, for example, the town square for example, 300 people. Then police came, says to organizers of such meeting that we believe there are 305 people. It's above the approved numbers, so either you spread away or you'll go to the jail. And people were getting to the jail, and I'm afraid that's where the situation in Sweden and Denmark is heading towards. Why? Uh, I would also want to add why things that are bad, that are widely recognized as bad, should not always be punished. I mean, yes, it is a bad thing to burn Quran. It's a stupid thing to burn a book, no matter what book it is. It's not a smart move. It's against I would say rational use of resources. It's not ecological to burn a book for the sake of it. But the recognition that it's a bad thing doesn't exactly mean it's a thing that should be punishable by law. I mean, there are other bad things, for example, like picking your nose at the restaurant, or I don't know, farting in a crowded elevator. It's bad. It's universally recognized as bad. You don't see anybody moving the political action towards criminalizing farting in the elevator. I mean, come on, people, think about it for a moment at least. I mean, that whole idea of separating good and bad, and punishing all that is bad, and promoting all that is good. It's actually very anachronistic. I mean, it's the Inquisition thing. and maybe Bolshevik things. One of the things that was characteristical for Bolsheviks, everything in the world was divided into two groups. There were good things that everybody should always do, or they're getting killed. And there were other things that were bad, that nobody ever, under no circumstances, was allowed to do, or they will get killed. I mean, you don't want to live in such society. And the whole direction of that populism, of constructing some short, simple, straightforward narrative that is based on some widely recognized basis, and hiding behind that all the bad things, all the crooked things, all the corruption politics do nowadays. It's been so much prevalent in Europe. I mean, it's a shame. I was always growing up adoring Western culture. I love American culture. I was from my early childhood dreaming of moving to Europe. I love so much about European culture, European architecture, European liberal democracies, how people can participate in the governing of the country. That was such a dream always for me. But with all that, I must say that because I like Europe so much, I value it so much, it is so important to speak out about the current crisis in politics, in human rights recognition. And another example of this topic could be the theme of migration. A lot of populists got their places in parliaments in many countries, Germany, Slovakia, Netherlands. They get those places because they construct some narrative. For example, some migrant who came to that European country committed some crime. Yeah, that's a bad thing. That's not bad. That's a criminally punishable thing. And more often than not, that person gets punished by law. And again, that requires your attention as a citizen, as a voter, for a broader situation. How exactly migration works. Yes, it's bad when there are migrants who come to your country to commit crimes, to form ethnic gangs. No doubts about it. But again, that's just one thing that populists take out of context, that show you that hand. Don't look elsewhere. Look at hand. Look at what crimes they committed. But again, every, absolutely every significant improvement in economy in the history of humanity was made with growing workforce. It was either through emancipation, for example, with abolition of slavery, or through women obtaining rights and joining workforce, getting careers, getting education, and actually producing some services, products, in other words, producing GDP, or through migration, I mean, if you look at the history of America in 20th century, there were all kinds of migration. I mean, migration from Ireland, that back in time was not a very successful country, nothing comparable towards modern day Ireland. It was mostly uh, agricultural, and the level of technical equipment on that agricultural economy was not great, and people who came from the Ireland to America were mostly uneducated people. And again, America had growing economy, not always. We all remember about Great Depression, but again, all the noticeable improvements in economy, all the rapid growth periods were accompanied by immigration. There were immigration from Italy that after the World War II wasn't having a great reputation either. People were coming from Russia after the Bolshevik revolution, after the Bolsheviks taking the power and beginning terror, class terror. There were again hundreds of thousands of people moving from Russia to Europe to America, and that was part of that growth. I mean, there were people who like Sikorsky were key figures in, for example, first mass productions of helicopters or modern television. I mean, migrants can add something to your workforce. It's resource. It becomes problematic. I, one thing I forgot. There were migrants from communist Cuba. For fuck's sake, commies coming to America and becoming American citizens, becoming a part of a growing American I don't know, prosperity of American dream that was still reachable back in 20th century. There are no bad peoples. There are no intrinsically bad social groups among migrants. I mean, if you can make good workers, if you can make a resourceful workforce from people fleeing the communist Cuba, you can work with anybody, and migration becomes problematic when that resource is treated badly, when politicians don't want or in many cases don't know how to deal with it, how to use it for everyone's benefit, and that shows the crisis of political class in many countries nowadays. I mean, it's completely another topic, but I mean, come on, America. You don't have to vote for a Democrat candidate or a Republican candidate. There are other candidates. You don't have to vote for 80 plus senior who has the history of medical problems and questionable potential for the upcoming 4 years. And the same could be said about, for example, Germany. I mean, uh, there are so many talks about taxpayers not wanting to spend their money on accommodation, on integration of migrants. But again, today, or was it yesterday? In recent 48 hours, there was a situation in European Union where Viktor Orban got 10 billion euro from European budget in the pocket, straight directly in the pocket of one of the worst scumbags, Putin's lapdog in Europe, just so he won't vote in European Union against possible inclusion of Ukraine in into European Union when the war is over. And yet that scumbag, taking his 10 billions, still screws Ukraine on confirming help for it. I mean, that's not good politics, and that doesn't get much attention. I mean, while people are concentrated on migrants, they don't see how their money is spent so wrong in many other cases. You look at the hand, you look at the migrants, you don't see what Orban does in Europe. I mean, there were so many talks about Europe limiting the oil and oil products from Russia, but still Hungary, Austria, they still use the same amount. And actually, they sell a bit to neighboring countries. The scheme is quite simple and brilliant. They buy oil products from Russia. They rebrand it as non-Russian products. I mean, it's in Hungary now. We sell it from Hungary. Let it be Hungarian oil products, and they sell it to other countries. I mean, the same situation was anecdotal situation was around 2015, 2016 with Belarus. When Putin imposed sanctions on import of food products from European Union, and suddenly Belarus, the country, a landlocked country with no seaports, become the biggest exporter of seafood, mostly shrimps and salmon, to Russia. I mean, they were just buying Norwegian seafood and selling it in Russia as Belarus products. Same thing goes with Orban, and nobody slaps his hands. That's the problem with populists. And that's why I want you to give more attention as citizens. What Europe still has is priceless. Please do all you can to save it. Otherwise, our world is doomed. It's all for today, and I'll find a new topic next time. See you soon. Take care.